Hello everyone, this is Danny and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Saturday Stitching, where every day can be Saturday if your stitching is going well. First off, I want to say thank you to my returning viewers and my subscribers. There are currently 49 subscribers, so yay! Thank you for coming back to watch me and subscribing. Even thank you to the bots. First up, let's have a hand report. My hands are, I'm still having some numbness. I'm at the point, this has been going on, you guys tell me, how long have I been talking about this? This has been going on for at least a couple months. I think, as I said last week, it's not throbbing, but it's numb in both hands now from here down. So like basically half my hand on both sides. I'm at the point now where this has been going so long that I'm starting to wonder if this is my new normal. Because people with MS, when you have a flare and then the symptoms subside, sometimes they don't subside all the way back to where you were to begin with. You know, so you may have been here and then you have a flare and you have all these symptoms. Well, instead of coming all the way back down to here, you may come down to here, and that's your new normal. So I'm wondering if this slight numbness in my fingers is my new normal. But you know, as long as it's not throbbing anymore, I'm good. Other than that, I want to say to you guys, first off, I'm sorry if I seem a little lackluster today. The MS fatigue is real, y'all. I'd still be sleeping from when I went to bed last night if I didn't have to get up and go to the bathroom. That's how tired I feel right now. But I'm trying to keep a routine going. Part of the reason I started making these videos is to keep a routine, to keep a semblance of, you know, Friday is the day that I do this, Saturday is the day that I do this, what have you. And speaking of Friday, I'm recording this on a Friday, and it's probably going to be posted on a Friday because tomorrow I am taking my daughter Chloe back to college. I believe classes first start on Monday. My daughter Sydney already went back to college this past Monday. Her classes started on Wednesday. So after we take Chloe back tomorrow, it's going to be just me and my youngest, my little working man junior, my 19-year-old. So it's bittersweet. It's nice having the girls in the house, but since they were all working, I didn't really see any of them anyway, including my son and my husband. They all are going in different directions because they're all working. I'm the only one not working right now. So I don't see them that much when they're home anyway. But, you know, it'll be a nice trip to get in the car and take that 2-hour ride. You know, it's a chore for my husband because he has to do all the driving, but it's a nice trip for me because I get out of the house, which I don't do very often. So let's start off. I have my little checklist. It is 88 degrees in here, so I have my little bandana for the sweaty face, which makes me look a little bit like a farmer. And I've got my steel cup that keeps everything ice cold because I'm trying to pound back all that water. I've still not done very well at consuming more than 16 ounces of liquid a day. That doesn't count my morning 16 ounces of coffee. So I'm trying to get better at just keeping the cup around me, and whenever I think of water or whenever I think of sweat leaving my body, that's a cue to my brain to, oh, okay, go ahead, take another drink. Okay, so first up, since my BFF, if she watches this video, probably won't get all the way through this video, let me show her project first so that she can text me and tell me if this is okay. As I showed last week, I bought some mesh, some coarse what they call coarse diamond mesh for you to make, and I bought it to make scrubbies with. Technically, decorators use this to make big, I don't know, wedding related, you know how I hate weddings, big wedding related type decorations. But if you buy the coarse kind, it's good for making scrubbies, for scrubbing dishes, is what I'm told. So I was so tired of my other project, which I'll get to in a minute because these are the only two projects that I have to talk about today. I was so tired of my other project, and I knew the deadline was to get it finished today so that I could photograph it and show it to you guys today. But it is not an FO. It's not even a HO, as they say, a half finished object. It's still a whip. So so I was like, since I know I'm not going to get it done today before she leaves tomorrow, I'm just going to put it to the side because I'm a little sick of looking at it right now. So let me just pick up something else that will give me some instant gratification. And so I made my BFF a dish scrubby. I owe her about a handful of these because she paid for dinner last time we got together. So, and I taught her how to crochet, but apparently she doesn't have time for that. So now this most of the patterns, I looked at several patterns, and most of the patterns I looked at are pretty much all the same with slight variations. I still may try a different pattern just for the heck of it, but I think they're all kind of the same, where you start crocheting in a circle and then you start increasing. So you start crocheting in a circle and then you start increasing and increasing and then start decreasing so that the circle folds on to itself like a ball. So this basically is a hollow ball almost, and then you just flatten it out to have a double layered scrubbing. And I imagine once you start using it, it starts to stick to itself. The pattern that I read said that the lady sometimes stuffs scraps in here, stuffs tool scraps in here, or mesh net scraps in here. But since I don't have any scraps, I don't have. So my bestie, this is the size. As you can see, it's about a little bit bigger than palm size. I think the one you had is a little bit smaller, but I hope this will do. If this won't do, let me know. Although I may have all of them made up before you have a chance to call me and let me know, so this may be a moot point. As far as the cost effectiveness of this, because she said, and I've heard from other people that they pretty much buy these for $1 a piece at, church flea market type places. I bought each of these because this technically is one ball. I mean one spool. There's 25 yards on the spool. It's $3.50 for the spool. I paid another 50 cents to have it cut in half because the seller recommended that, if you cut it in half, you can still make a good scrubby with 1.5 inches wide, even though most of the patterns, including the one I did, call for 2 inches wide. But you can take the 3-inch spool and pay us 50 cents. We'll cut it in half, so you have 2 spools of 25 yards, and then you can basically supposedly get more for your money. Yeah, so it was $3.50. I paid 50 cents, so that's $4. I bought 3 spools, so the shipping basically, because the shipping was like $3.69, so the shipping basically comes out to $1.10. Let's just round it down to $1. So I basically paid $5. This is an unused half. Okay, this is an unused half. And then this is the used half. So as you can see, I use more then half the amount off of this to make that. So I don't think I'm going to get a second full scrubby out of this. I think I could get another scrubby out of this and then use the leftovers of the two together to make a third scrubby, unless I just am bad at eyeballing and estimating. I think basically out of this cut spool, which basically cost me $5, if you count the shipping, I'm going to get maybe three scrubbies out of it, which is a little bit more than $1. So the places that these people buy these scrubbies from, either the ladies are taking a loss or they're going the other route and buying yardage, because I've seen a lot of the patterns I've looked at have mentioned buying yardage, just buying a yard of the tool, folding it, and then cutting it in 2-inch strips. I don't know how much more you would get out of that. I don't know because I don't know how much it costs per yard. I don't know how cost effective that is, but it must be a little bit cheaper to cut it yourself than to buy it already on spools. But since me getting out to Mary Jo's, our local fabric store, is, again, it's a challenge, just like getting to Walmart or everything else is a challenge, because I don't drive. So, and there's not public transit here, and my budget is tight, so I don't go to places like this. So buying the yardage was not really, if I waited to buy the yardage, I'd never get it done. So I went ahead and bought it online. This was the least expensive seller that I could find, and it was, I could have not paid to have it cut in half, but I figured the convenience, 50 cents, whatever. So, it's worth it to me to make, because I'm not trying to sell these. I was just curious because, like I said, I've heard from other people that they sell them for $1, so I would be lying if it hadn't passed through my mind that possibly I could make these to sell, but I'd have to find a cheaper way to source the material. As far as making them, the pattern's not terribly hard. It probably would have taken me a little under an hour if I hadn't had to stop frequently, because I kept trying to find a way to hold the yarn, because not yarn, but when you crochet, you tend to hold your working yarn over your finger like this. Well, this stuff, like if you run your finger across it like this, it doesn't bother you really, but these cut edges right here, that's what's really annoying if you are running it across your finger. And so I kept trying to find a way to run it across, and I was too lazy to get up and get a Band-Aid. If I had gotten up and gotten a Band-Aid to cover my finger, then I probably could have gone faster. So I will probably do that before I do this the next time. But anyway, bestie, by the time we see each other again in September, hopefully I will have a small handful of these for you. The only other whip which I mentioned earlier, just a few minutes ago, that was driving me crazy. Sorry, excuse me. 87 degrees in the south. Is the casual surfer tee that I was making for my daughter Chloe. And I don't know what I was thinking that I thought that I could finish a sweater in 10 days. Even though I did knit on it every day, there were a couple days where my hands didn't hurt, but it's like my whole body rebelled against the idea of knitting. So it's like I was going fast for 2 or 3 days, and then there was a day where I just kind of hit a wall, and I could barely get through a round in an hour, because I would knit a couple stitches and then I'd sit it in my lap. and I knit a couple stitches and sit it in my lap. And I don't know if it's just because I was getting sick of the project. It's probably a combination of that and the fact that the MS fatigue was coming on, because I also was exercising earlier in this week. I started some new exercise routines because I'm trying to get back on that exercise wagon, and I felt really good. I did not exercise to exhaustion, because that's one thing they tell MS sufferers not to do, because it does take you twice as long to recover, to rest up and get back to normal if you exercise yourself to exhaustion. It just takes longer to get your energy back up. So I did not exercise to exhaustion. I'm doing a workout that is made specifically for MS sufferers. I thought I was doing good, but I started slowing down a little bit around Wednesday, and then yesterday I could barely make myself exercise, and then by today it's like I'm right now I'd like to get back in bed. The bed that this laptop is sitting on, my pillow is directly in my line of sight. I want to go lay down. But anyway, but I also want to talk to you guys. That's the quandary. I want to talk to you guys. I want to show you what I've been doing. So I'm holding off on the desire to sleep long enough to show you what I've been doing. And so if you don't follow me on Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen this. But even if you do follow me on Instagram, I had trouble getting it all in the camera. So, because I'm not a good photographer. So this will show you where I am so far. It's probably going to be hard to see because this is dark blue Karen Simply Soft yarn. It gives great stitch definition and it looks great in person, but I don't know how well it looks on camera. But here we go. This is how much we've gotten done so far. I hope you guys can see that. And the biggest part that was giving me issues, I can't wait to wash this or block it some kind of way, because the neckline is curling and it's hard for me to take pictures for you to see how nice the neckline looks. But here you go. Here you go. I hope you can see that. The areas here, I can't hold it up and point to it at the same time, but the areas here are where the columns are for the, and I don't know if you can see, but like this is the side where I really jacked it up. It's supposed to be straight up and down, and it's just not. On this side, it's a little bit better. It's not straight up and down, but somehow I started jacking it up after I joined it all together in a circle. I still managed to mess it up, so I don't know. But if you can see, let me see if I can show you this part. This is a top-down raglan, which I've never made before. This is the part, I'm holding it upside down to show you. This is the part where, as you can see on this red yarn, these are the stitches for the sleeves. I thought, well, I'm going to be smart. I have these unused circulars, and I'm just going to put these on circulars so that when it comes time to pick up these sleeves, it'll be easier to just knit it off the circulars. All those extra needles flapping in my face got on my nerves. That slowed me down. After about 3 rounds, I was like, you know what? I'm going to put this on some string. Now I understand why in all the videos they were putting it on string, because that annoyed me. But also, let me see. First off, from the time that I showed you last time, I'm trying to see if I have I thought I had a marker. Oh yeah, here we go. I think that this right here is my progress keeper from when I showed you last time. So I didn't get a whole lot done from the last time I showed it. Is that right? Oh, I'm holding... I can't tell. I can't tell. I'm confusing myself at this point. But since I showed you last time, I have joined it together to be worked in the round instead of working back and forth. And so I do know that where we are here, I started the second skein. This thing calls for 4 skeins of yarn, 1200. If I had really paid attention to that, I would have realized how crazy it was. It calls for 1200 yards of yarn, 4 skeins. Even if I don't put the sleeves on it, I still think I'm going to use about 3, because she wants short sleeves. So I still think I'm going to use about 3 skeins of yarn. And I didn't even join the second skein of yarn until roughly right here. So like all of this, all of these rows, I mean all the way around. So basically I've knit about 2 inches of sweater from using the second skein. So the majority of this is all the first skein. So, and the second skein is going to take me at least, and it took me 6 days to finish the first skein of yarn, and there's supposed to be at least 2 more skeins of yarn in this sweater. What was I thinking? That I could knit 3 skeins of worsted weight in 10 days. But what can I say? I was coming off the high of finishing that Wonder Woman blanket and everybody giving me accolades and everything. So it's been so long since I finished anything, because even though I often say on here that I haven't knit in 10 years, 10 years ago was when I was heavily knitting, when I was knitting every day, when I carried a project with me wherever I went, when I bought knitting magazines every time I walked into a bookstore. Because back then I actually worked in an office and left my house. So I was heavily into knitting, and to a lesser degree I did some crochet every once in a while, but I was heavily into stitching in general. So that's why I say it's been 10 years, because most of these projects have been sitting there since that big surge of knitting. But I have done a few small projects. 5 years ago, when somebody needed something for a baby shower, I whipped up a 5-hour baby sweater, because it's a reliable pattern. I know I can get it done in about 2 evenings. So I whipped up it was for a charity or something, so I whipped up a 5-hour baby sweater. I've made a couple hats when there's like the elephant, the white elephant exchange at Christmas, when you go to a party and you're supposed to bring a junk gift, but because we're on a budget, I just took some yarn and made a couple hats and a scarf and threw them in which I'd never do again, because those hats turned out really nice, and the person who got them, I don't think realized that they were hand knit. But anyway, we're not supposed to knit for the accolades. But I was off of that high. I mean, it's been a long time since I finished anything. So now I finished something. It's been a long time since I felt how good that felt to finish something. So I thought, I'm just going to jump right into this next project, and I'm just going to whip that right out. Because, I finished the blanket and then I finished the hat. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to, silly me. So that brings me to one acquisition this week, which I mentioned last week. I was waiting for my Nostapena, and it didn't come. And I don't mind waiting for things, because I have, excuse me, Sorry. I have ordered yarn from China. I mean, not yarn, but I've ordered things like, I've gotten my crochet hooks and different little things, circulars that I needed for another project, and I know you get the free shipping, you get the needle for $1.95, but you're going to wait 6 weeks for it to come. I've got some cotton that I'm still waiting for that may or may not be delivered next week. And I ordered it, I think, 2 weeks ago. No biggie. But the issue I had with the Nostapena is that on eBay it said that the expected delivery was the 11th. So I'm sitting around waiting. It said that it's already out for delivery and that I should get it on the 11th. So I'm sitting around waiting for something and it's still not here. Because I was expecting it last Friday. And it's still not here. So that is the kind of thing that has me worried, if I'm expecting it to show up at my door. And my son and my daughter and my husband also had things that were being delivered to them because my husband was getting new uniforms from work. And FedEx delivers those and stuff like that. So every time I'd see a delivery truck stop, I'd run downstairs because, some of the delivery people, like the cranky FedEx lady, she'll put on the door in a minute that nobody was home and she didn't even ring the bell. So I always now run downstairs to get whatever the package is. And none of them were for me. So, but finally, yesterday, my Nostapena came. And here it is. I mean, what's the big deal? It's a stick. And yes, I tried looking in my garage among my husband's stuff for a stick because I felt funny spending $6 for a stick. But it's a nice, smooth, polished stick, so my yarn's not going to snag on it. And it's a more economical option for winding. For those who don't know, I'm sure most of you know because you're all yarn people, but for those who don't know, a Nostapena is for winding a center pull ball with your yarn, which a lot of people do, especially if you have a fancy ball winder, then you may take your skeins of Red Heart and wind them up right away. But a lot of people use a Nostapena, is my understanding, because it's more manual. A lot of people use a Nostapena for the leftover yarn tangles that you have left over after you've used 3/4 of a skein of your Red Heart and it's collapsed on itself. So that's pretty much what I do. But for years I've been using my thumb because I feel like I'm the frugal stitcher. I've been using bobby pins as stitch markers for years. I don't, I have the same, my measuring tape in my Notions kit is older than my oldest daughter, who is 24 something. Shoot me, I don't remember her age. So I tend to just, lay the yarn end in the crook of my thumb and wind and wind and wind and wind and wind. I've done that for years, but I felt like, okay, there's a tool for this. Why do I have to keep using my thumb? I wind just enough yarn barf, as they say, that I feel like I'd rather have a stick than constantly use my thumb, but I don't want to pay, and I don't frankly have the room for a ball winder type setup. I wanted a more low-key, lo-fi, low-tech solution. So I got my Nostapena. Haven't had a chance to use it yet because I've been focusing too much on trying to work on that sweater, but I'm sure I will get to use it soon. So I'm checking off my list, everything that I wanted to talk about. I'll leave some of these things for next week. But basically, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm starting classes next week So starting classes on Monday, so I don't know how much stitching I'm going to get done. So if you do not see a video from me next week, that is probably the reason. But I'll try not to let more than a month pass before I come back in and check in with you guys. So thank you for sticking with me this long. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you're working on, because I always love to hear what I go around and watch everybody's videos, because I love to hear what you're working on. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.